My name is Owen Mitchell, and I am 27 years old. The night I heard my parents planning to destroy my grandfather's will, I was standing in the hallway outside their bedroom, holding a glass of water I had gone downstairs to get. Their door was cracked open. Just enough. I could hear everything. My mother's voice came first. Quiet. Urgent. We have to do something about the first will. Before Owen finds out what is in it. My father responded. His voice was calmer. More controlled. We already have the second will. The one that matters. The one grandfather signed 2 weeks before he died. But what if someone questions it? What if Owen finds the first one? He will not. We have the only copy. We destroy it. Problem solved. I stood frozen. Glass of water in my hand. Heart pounding. Not moving. Not breathing. Just listening. My mother again. What about the lawyer? Douglas saw both wills. He knows about the first one. Douglas is old. Retiring next month. He is not going to cause problems. And even if he does, we have the second will. Properly signed. Properly witnessed. Legal. But the first will leave everything to Owen. The house. The investments. The business. Everything. The second will split it between us and give Owen almost nothing. People will ask questions. Let them ask. We have documents. We have proof. The second will is valid. That is all that matters. My mother was quiet for a moment. Then. What if grandfather was not in his right mind when he signed the second will? What if Owen challenges it? He will not. Owen does not have money for lawyers. Does not have a fight in him. He will accept what we tell him and move on. I felt something cold settle in my chest. They thought I was weak. Compliant. Easy to manipulate. They had no idea what I was capable of. I walked back to my room. Set down the water. Sat on my bed. Thought about what I had just heard. My grandfather had left me everything in his first will. Then, 2 weeks before he died, supposedly signed a second will that gave most of his estate to my parents. And now they were planning to destroy evidence of the first will. This was a fraud. Theft. Possibly worse. I needed proof. I needed that first will. And I needed to move fast before they destroyed it. People think wills are just legal documents. They are not. They are final statements. Last wishes. The clearest picture of what someone valued. Who they trusted. Who they loved. My grandfather, Thomas Mitchell, raised me. Not officially. But practically. My parents were always working. Always traveling. Always busy building their careers. So I spent every afternoon at Grandpa's house. Every weekend. Every summer. He taught me things. How to fix a car. How to balance a checkbook. How to treat people with respect. How to stand up for yourself. How to build something that lasts. He owned a small construction company. Mitchell and Sons. Built homes. Commercial buildings. Quality work. Fair prices. He had a reputation. Clients trusted him. Contractors respected him. He built his business over 40 years. From nothing to something substantial. When I turned 18, he offered me a job. Not charity. Real work. I started as a laborer. Learned the trade. Worked my way up. By the time I was 25, I was managing projects. Learning the business. Being trained to take over eventually. Grandpa always said, Owen, this company will be yours someday. You have the work ethic. The integrity. The skills. Your parents never wanted it. But you do. So it is yours. That promise meant everything to me. Not because of money. Because he believed in me. Saw potential my parents never saw. Gave me purpose when I felt lost. 2 months ago, Grandpa got sick. Cancer. Fast. Aggressive. The doctors said weeks. Maybe a month. I spent every day with him. Hospital. Then hospice. Holding his hand. Reading to him. Making sure he was not alone. My parents visited twice. Brought flowers. Stayed 30 minutes. Left. They were busy. They had important things to do. 3 weeks before he died, Grandpa called his lawyer. Douglas. Freeman. Old family friend. Had handled Grandpa's legal matters for decades. They met privately. I was not in the room. But afterward, Grandpa seemed relieved. Peaceful. You are taken care of, he told me. Everything is handled. The company. The house. You will be fine. I trusted him. Believed him. Did not ask questions. 2 weeks later, my parents suddenly became very attentive. Visited every day. Brought Grandpa his favorite foods. Sat with him for hours. I thought they were finally showing up. Being family. Doing the right thing. Now I realized they were doing something else. Manipulating. Positioning. Preparing. 1 week before Grandpa died, my mother mentioned that Grandpa wanted to update his will. Make sure everything was clear. Fair. That he wanted to take care of everyone. Not just me. I did not think much of it then. Thought she was just talking. Making conversation. Now I understand. They had convinced him to sign a second will. Or forged one. Or coerced him when he was too weak to fight back. And now they were planning to destroy the first will. The real one. The one that reflected what Grandpa actually wanted. I could not let that happen. The next morning, I woke up at 6. Could not sleep. Kept thinking about what I had heard. About the first will. About how to find it before my parents destroyed it. My phone rang at 7. Unknown number. I almost did not answer. But something made me pick up. Hello. Owen Mitchell. The voice was older. Male. Professional. Yes. This is Douglas Freeman. Your grandfather's attorney. I apologize for calling so early. But I need to speak with you. Urgently. My heart jumped. Mr. Freeman. Of course. What is this about? It is about your grandfather's will. I received a disturbing call yesterday. From your mother. She was asking about the original will. The first one. She wanted to know if I had copies. If it was registered anywhere. Her questions concerned me. I sat up. What did you tell her? I told her I had a copy in my files. Standard practice. All wills are copied and retained. She became agitated. Said the first will was outdated. That your grandfather had changed his mind. That the second will was the only one that mattered. Is that true? Did Grandpa change his mind? Douglas was quiet for a moment. Then. Owen, I have been practicing law for 43 years. I know when a client is acting of their own free will. And when they are being influenced. Your grandfather signed the first will 3 months before he died. He was clear. Coherent. Certain. He left everything to you. The company. The house. His investments. Everything. What about the second will? I was not involved with the second will. I found out about it after your grandfather died. Your mother presented it to the probate court. Different attorney. Someone I do not know. The will was dated 2 weeks before your grandfather's death. When he was heavily medicated. Barely conscious. Can they do that? Can they just present a different will? Technically, yes. If it is properly signed and witnessed. The court will accept whichever will is most recent. Unless someone challenges it. I want to challenge it. Good. Because I called to tell you that I have the original will. The first one. Notarized. Witnessed. Legally sound. And I am prepared to submit it to the court. But I wanted your permission first. You have it. Absolutely. Then I will file it this morning. Be prepared. Your parents will not be happy. I understand. Owen, there is something else. Your mother asked where my office was. When I would be there today. I think she is planning to come here. To try to get the will. Or to intimidate me into not filing it. Then I should be there too. I agree. Can you come now? Before they arrive? I am on my way. I hung up. Grabbed my keys. Headed for the door. My mother was in the kitchen. Drinking coffee. She looked up when she saw me. Where are you going so early? Errands. What kind of errands? Just things I need to handle. I will be back later. Her eyes narrowed. This is not about your grandfather's estate, is it? Because we already explained. The will is clear. Everything is settled. I know. This is not about that. I left before she could ask more questions. Got in my car. Drove toward Douglas Freeman's office downtown. 10 minutes into the drive, my phone rang. My father. I answered. Hello. Where are you? His voice was sharp. Demanding. Running errands. Your mother said you left in a hurry. Where are you really going? I told you. Errands. Owen, do not do anything stupid. The will is settled. If you try to fight this, you will lose. And you will damage our relationship beyond repair. Our relationship is already damaged. I hung up. Blocked his number. Keep driving. Douglas Freeman's office was in an old building downtown. Brick. 3 stories. Modest. I parked. Walked inside. Found his office on the 2nd floor. He was waiting for me. Older man. 70s. Silver hair. Kind eyes. He shook my hand. Thank you for coming so quickly. We do not have much time. What do we need to do? I need you to sign an affidavit. Stating that you are challenging the second will. That you believe the first will is valid. That you want the court to review both documents. I will sign whatever you need. He handed me papers. I read them quickly. Signed. He notarized my signature. Added the documents to a folder. This goes to the probate court this morning. Once filed, both wills become part of the record. The court will review. Decide which one is valid. What are the chances the first will is upheld? Douglas smiled. High. Very high. Your grandfather was coherent when he signed it. Multiple witnesses. Clear intent. The second will was signed when he was medicated. Barely able to speak. If your parents want it upheld, they will have to prove he was competent. That is hard to do. Then we have a chance. More than a chance. We were finishing the paperwork when I heard shouting in the hallway. Footsteps. Then my mother burst through the door. My father is right behind her. My mother saw me. Her face went from surprise to rage in seconds. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same question. She turned to Douglas. You called him. You told him about the first will. Douglas stood. Calmly. Professionally. I informed my client that there were documents relevant to his grandfather's estate. That is my job. Your client? My father stepped forward. You represented Thomas Mitchell. Not Owen. You have no business discussing this with him. Actually, Douglas said, Owen is a beneficiary named in the first will. That makes him my client too. And I have a legal obligation to inform him of documents that affect his inheritance. The first will is irrelevant. My mother's voice was shaking. Thomas changed his mind. The second will is the valid one. We have witnesses. Signatures. Everything is legal. Then you have nothing to worry about. Douglas handed her a document. This is a copy of the filing I am submitting to probate court this morning. Both wills will be reviewed. The court will decide which one is valid. My mother grabbed the papers. Read them. Her hands were trembling. You cannot do this. This is harassment. Manipulation. Owen does not know what he is doing. Owen knows exactly what he is doing. He is challenging a will that was signed when his grandfather was barely conscious. That is his right. My father turned to me. His face was red. You are destroying this family. Over money. Over greed. Your grandfather wanted us to have the estate. To manage it. You are too young. Too inexperienced. Grandpa told me I was getting everything. Multiple times. For years. Then suddenly, 2 weeks before he dies, he changes his mind. While on morphine. That does not make sense. He knew we would take care of you. That we would manage the estate properly. He did not trust you to manage anything. That is why he left it to me. My mother stepped closer. Voice dropping. Threatening. If you go through with this, you lose us. Forever. We will never speak to you again. You will have no family. I already have no family. You made sure of that. Douglas cleared his throat. I think this conversation is over. I am filing these documents in 30 minutes. If you want to contest them, hire your own attorney. My parents stared at him. Then at me. Then they left. Slamming the door. Footsteps echoing down the hall. I exhaled. Sat down. Hands shaking. That was intense. You did well. Douglas sat across from me. They are scared. That is good. It means they know the first will is legitimate. That they will have to fight to keep what they stole. What happens now? Now we wait. The court will schedule a hearing. Both wills will be presented. Witnesses will testify. Medical records will be reviewed. The judge will decide. How long? Weeks. Maybe months. Depends on the court schedule. But Owen, you did the right thing. Your grandfather wanted you to have his estate. I was there when he signed that will. I know his intent. We will make sure it is honored. Thank you. For calling me. For keeping the copy. It is my job. But more than that, Thomas was a good man. He did not deserve what your parents did. And neither do you. The weeks after filing were brutal. My parents stopped speaking to me. Blocked my number. Locked me out of the family home where I had been staying. I moved into a cheap motel. Lived on savings. Waited. The hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks out. Both sides submitted evidence. Witness statements. Medical records. Affidavits. Everything Douglas said we would need. My parents hired an expensive attorney. Someone from a big firm downtown. They were fighting hard. Spending money they did not have yet. Betting everything on winning. I had Douglas. And the truth. 3 weeks before the hearing, Douglas called. Good news. The court appointed a medical expert to review your grandfather's condition at the time he signed the second will. Based on hospital records and medication logs. What did they find? Your grandfather was on high doses of morphine and sedatives 2 weeks before he died. The expert says his cognitive function would have been severely impaired. He would not have been able to understand complex legal documents. So the second will is invalid? Likely. But we still have to present our case. Prove the first will is valid. That your grandfather was coherent when he signed it. We can do that. Yes. We can. 2 weeks before the hearing, my mother reached out. Through an intermediary. A family friend. She wanted to negotiate. Offered me 20% of the estate if I dropped the challenge. I told Douglas. He laughed. They are panicking. That is a good sign. What do you want to do? I want what Grandpa wanted. All of it. The company. The house. Everything. Just like the first will says. Then that is what we fight for. 1 week before the hearing, my father sent an email. Long rambling. Blaming me for destroying the family. For being greedy. For dishonoring my grandfather's memory. He said I was ungrateful. Selfish. That I would regret this. I deleted the email. Did not respond. Focused on the hearing. The night before court, I could not sleep. I sat in my motel room. Thinking. About Grandpa. About the life he had built. The values he taught me. The trust he placed in me. This was not about money. It was about honoring his wishes. About making sure what he worked for went to the person he chose. Not the people who manipulated him in his final days. I would not let him down. The morning of the hearing, I arrived at the courthouse early. Douglas was already there. Reviewing documents. Preparing. Ready. Ready. We walked into the courtroom. My parents were already seated. With their attorney. A woman in an expensive suit. Sharp. Professional. Intimidating. The judge entered. Everyone stood. The hearing began. My parents' attorney went first. Presented the second will. Argued that it was valid. Properly signed. Properly witnessed. That my grandfather had changed his mind. Wanted to provide for his daughter and son-in-law. That this was his final wish. She called witnesses. A nurse from the hospice. Said my grandfather seemed coherent during her shifts. Could hold conversations. Understand what was happening. Douglas cross-examined. Asked about medication schedules. About how long the nurse's shifts were. About whether she was present when the will was signed. She admitted she was not. That she only saw my grandfather for brief periods. That she could not speak to his mental state at the exact moment of signing. Then Douglas presented our case. The first will. Signed 3 months before death. When my grandfather was healthy. Clear-minded. Working full-time. He called witnesses. The notary who had witnessed the signing. A business partner who had discussed the will with my grandfather. Me. To testify about conversations I had with Grandpa about his intentions. I sat in the witness box. Told the truth. About the afternoons at Grandpa's house. The promises he made. The training he gave me. His clear statements that I would inherit the company. My parents' attorney tried to shake my testimony. Asked if I was motivated by greed. If I was making this up to get money. I looked at her. Calmly. I am motivated by honoring my grandfather's wishes. He told me for years what he wanted. I am making sure it happens. The judge called for a brief recess. Then returned with a decision. I have reviewed both wills. Both sets of evidence. Both witness testimonies. It is clear to me that Thomas Mitchell intended to leave his estate to his grandson Owen Mitchell. The first will reflects that intent. The second will was signed under questionable circumstances. While the deceased was heavily medicated. Without the involvement of his long-term attorney. I find the first will to be valid. The second will is set aside. The gavel came down. My mother gasped. My father put his head in his hands. Their attorney shuffled papers. Looking for something. Finding nothing. Douglas smiled. Shook my hand. You won. We won. Grandpa won. 3 weeks after the hearing, the estate was settled. Everything transferred to me. The construction company. The house. The investments. Approximately $2.4 million in total assets. I did not feel rich. I felt responsible. Like I had been given something precious. Something I needed to protect. To grow. To honor. The first thing I did was meet with the company managers. The people who had worked with Grandpa for decades. I told them nothing would change. That I would run the company the way he did. Fair wages. Quality work. Integrity first. They were relieved. Supportive. Ready to help me learn. To teach me what Grandpa had not had time to teach. The second thing I did was move into Grandpa's house. The one he built himself 40 years ago. Modest. Solid. Filled with memories. I did not change anything. Just lived there. Felt his presence. Heard his voice in every room. My parents tried to contact me twice. Once through their attorney. Asking if we could settle. If I would give them something. Anything. I declined. Once through that family friend again. Asking if I would reconcile. If we could move past this. Start over. I told the friend. Maybe someday. But not now. They stole from me. Lied to me. Tried to erase Grandpa's wishes. I need time. Space. Distance. The friend understood. 6 months after the inheritance, the company was thriving. We had more contracts than ever. Our reputation was growing. Clients trusted us. The employees were happy. I thought about my parents. About what they lost. Not just money. But integrity. Respect. Their relationship with me. All for greed. All for assets they did not earn. I felt sad for them. But I did not regret fighting. Did not regret honoring Grandpa's wishes. Did not regret standing up for what was right. 1 year after the hearing, I visited Grandpa's grave. Brought flowers. Sat on the grass. Talked to him like he was still there. I did it, Grandpa. I kept the company. Honored your wishes. Built what you wanted me to build. I hope you are proud. The wind rustled through the trees. Peaceful. Gentle. I chose to believe he heard me. I stood. I walked back to my car. Drove to the office. Had work to do. A company to run. A legacy to continue. My parents tried to hide the first will. Tried to erase Grandpa's intentions. Tried to steal what he built. But they forgot something. They forgot. That truth has a way of surviving. Those documents leave copies. That lawyers keep records. That people who love you protect your wishes even after you are gone. They forgot. And it cost them everything. But it gave me everything. Not just money. Purpose. Meaning. The knowledge that I fought for someone who could not fight for themselves. That was worth more than any inheritance.